In the northern Italian city of Padua, there is a well-known school, the Chinese Italian International School. Being its principal, Li Xuemei has been very busy lately, even though it is already summer vacation. In late June, she saw off 2 summer camps, one to China and the other to Japan, which required a lot of preparation work in advance. The group going to China consists of more than 30 students who will stay in the East Asian country for 4 weeks. The youngest is 7 years old, and the oldest are around 19. Their study tours in China will include the cities of Chengdu and Chongqing in the country's southwest region. They will interact with local students and attend classes. The students will also visit local museums and famous landmarks to learn about the local culture and customs. In fact, these 2 summer camps are part of the wider efforts by Li Xuemei to promote Chinese-Italian educational and cultural exchanges. Since 2002, she has spearheaded annual study tours to China, believing deeply in their power to reshape perceptions. Li Xuemei speaks passionately about the profound impact these trips have on participants.
Italian students of Chinese descent may have been to China with their parents, but there are still some areas they have not visited. Therefore, when they go with our summer camps, what they see is likely to be a more authentic and three-dimensional China. As for Italian children, it is even more so. They have only heard about the country through media reports. After participating in the summer camps and seeing China with their own eyes, they find it completely different from what they expected, which helps them understand the real China. After returning to Italy, the children generally have broadened their horizons and increased their knowledge. After so many years of organizing summer camps, we feel that it is of great help to the children, whether they are of Chinese descent or Italian children.
Li adds that several Italian children, before going to China, thought that the country was still underdeveloped. However, after arriving in China, they were so amazed by the country that they didn't want to go back. One child even made a decision to go to university in China after graduating from high school in Italy. For Li Xuemei, the 15-day visa-free policy for Italians visiting China, launched in December 2023, has further fueled her mission.
This year, the elementary school department of our Chinese-Italian International School organized a parent-child trip to China, mostly involving native Italian parents and students. The 15-day visa exemption is very convenient for them. This policy not only reduces the hassle of paperwork, but also alleviates the financial burden on the parents. For example, for a family with 2 parents and 2 children, the visa costs can be quite high. Therefore, the visa-free policy represents significant savings for them economically, making it very beneficial.
The Chinese-Italian International School, founded in 2013, is a groundbreaking institution fully integrated into Italy's education system. Li Xuemei recalls that establishing such a school was not easy.
I wrote a market research report of over 20 pages and submitted it to the Chinese consulate in Milan and the Padua city government, seeking their support and assistance. At the same time, I looked for investors, searched for school premises, and prepared the necessary materials. After 2 years of preparation, the Chinese-Italian International School officially opened in September 2013. It took 2 years of planning, and starting the school was challenging due to a lack of experience. Our school is currently the only Chinese language school school in Italy that is integrated into the country's formal education system. There was no existing experience to draw from. It was entirely a process of trial and error. I felt like I was navigating a ship in a vast ocean, and reaching the other shore was not easy. There were constant hidden reefs along the way, and I had to continually adjust my course.
Today, the school stands as a testament to her perseverance. What began with just a handful of students has grown into a comprehensive institution spanning kindergarten through high school, with nearly 200 enrolled students. The student body composition tells its own story of success. While initially serving primarily students of Chinese descent, the school now counts 30% native Italian students and 10% from other nationalities. The curriculum masterfully blends Italian educational requirements with deep Chinese cultural immersion.
中译国际学校呢，中文课全部是由专业的中文教师授课。
The Chinese classes at our school are all taught by professional Chinese teachers. In recent years, the Overseas Chinese Affairs Office of the State Council of China has provided us with a lot of support and assistance. Every year, they send outstanding teachers to our school to teach. We have ensured that the number of class hours for Chinese courses matches that of Italian language classes. Additionally, based on the characteristics of our students, the school has compiled its own Chinese teaching materials, and we conduct class divisions according to the actual Chinese proficiency levels of the students. We differentiate teaching objectives and contents for different students, which has resulted in ideal teaching outcomes.
Beyond the classroom, students engage with Chinese culture through an array of extracurricular activities: kung fu, singing together, traditional Chinese dance, calligraphy, and Chinese painting. Major Chinese festivals like Spring Festival and Mid-Autumn Festival are celebrated with great fanfare. This holistic approach has yielded impressive results. The school's students regularly excel in Chinese language competitions. For instance, in 2022, a student named Nicola Dalla Costa from the school won the first place in the primary school category of the influential Chinese Bridge, Chinese proficiency competition for Italy and San Marino. Li Xuemei compares her school to a truly international big family. The quality of education at the school has been well received and praised by both students and parents. In 2018, in recognition of the overall teaching level of the Chinese-Italian International School, it was awarded the status of one of the 18 key primary and secondary schools by the educational authorities in Padua. As the principal, Li Xuemei is busy every day, but she finds joy in her work because she loves her students and is passionate about education.
The school is for the students, so we must focus on their development. I pay attention to students' academic performance, but I am even more concerned about their character development, as well as their growth in music, sports, and aesthetics. The Chinese-Italian International School is based on Chinese culture, with the model of cultivating virtue, understanding principles, thinking critically, and practicing elegance. This year, I held 2 lectures for high school students. One of them was about Confucianism and Chinese culture, mainly discussing how to cultivate virtue and the concept of li, or propriety. I hope that the students of our school will be optimistic, proactive, and confident. At the same time, I also hope our students can love sports, music, and art, becoming well-rounded individuals with moral integrity, wisdom, and physical fitness.
Li's path to educational leadership was anything but straightforward. Hailing from northeast China, she arrived in Padua in 1992 as a trailing spouse, accompanying her husband, who was pursuing his PhD at the University of Padua. With a kindergarten-age daughter in tow and no Italian language skills, those early years were marked by struggle.
一开始呢，说实在话，生活是很艰苦的。
At the beginning, to be honest, life was very difficult. My husband was a humanities student, and his scholarship was not handsome. He could manage on his own, but for our whole family to rent a place and cover daily expenses, relying on just one person's scholarship was not enough. When I first arrived in Italy, I didn't speak Italian and was unfamiliar with the local environment, so I couldn't find a job. I had to be very frugal in daily life. I couldn't buy things I liked. For a long time, I felt lost because I couldn't find my place in a foreign environment.
Her state of confusion lasted more than a year, and she began to seek a way out. Li Xuemei graduated from a normal university in China and majored in Chinese. Before coming to Italy, she had been a teacher back in her native country. This background helped her open up a career path in Italy.
后来呢，我在朋友的帮助下，在家呢教了几个小朋友学习中文。
Later, with the help of friends, I started teaching a few children at home to learn Chinese. My daughter also learned with them. Finally, I had something to do and felt a sense of value. In 1995, there was a teaching recruitment exam at the University of Venice. I took the exam and was recruited by the university. This allowed me to continue standing on the podium, gain confidence, and have greater motivation to realize my self-worth and do what I love.
Starting from 1995, Li Xuemei worked at the University of Venice for nearly 20 years. She taught Chinese language and Chinese culture courses at the university, which is about half an hour by train from Padua. During her time at the university, she began to self-study Italian, and now speaks fluent Italian and has fully integrated into the local life.
Buongiorno a tutti, mi chiamo Li Xuemei e sono
我的先生呢，他是语言学博士，他的意大利语非常好。
My husband has a PhD in linguistics, and his Italian is very good. So at that time, when I was preparing my lessons, I would write in Chinese, and he would help me translate it into Italian. With the translation, I would read it and memorize it. Gradually, I learned Italian this way. It wasn't easy, but I actually improved quite quickly.
Italo-cinese.
Li Xuemei recalls that in the 1990s there were not many Italians learning Chinese, and few people understood or appreciated Chinese culture. Students who chose to major in Chinese at Italian universities did so purely out of personal interest or curiosity. However, times have changed. With China's rising status on the world stage and the development of its economy, more and more Italians recognize the importance of learning Chinese today. Additionally, the spread of Chinese culture abroad has allowed an increasing number of Italians to understand, appreciate, and fall in love with China and its culture. It was this craze for the Chinese language and culture that made Li Xuemei realize the necessity of establishing a formal Chinese school. Therefore, in 2013, she founded the Chinese-Italian International School and resigned from her position at the University of Venice to fully dedicate herself to the creation and management of her school. Now, at 67 years old, in what many would consider retirement years, Li shows no signs of slowing down. In addition to school administration, she continues her scholarly work. Her Chinese textbook series, Hello China, first published in 2004, remains widely used in Italian universities. She has also completed manuscripts analyzing Chinese characters from cultural and linguistic perspectives, although finding time for final edits remains a challenge. Her popular book, China, An Illustrated Introduction, has been translated into over a dozen languages, further extending her influence as a cultural ambassador. In recognition of her contributions to cultural exchanges between China and Italy, the Padua city government awarded her the Padovana Eccellente Medal, which means Outstanding Person of Padua, in November 2024. The award ceremony took place in the magnificent Galileo Hall at the University of Padua. Li Xuemei vividly remembers the scene to this day.
其实那天呢，当主持人念到我的名字和宣读我的事例时。
Actually, when the host announced my name and read my achievements, there was a warm round of applause from the audience. I was very nervous and excited at that moment. As I walked up to the podium, when the host asked me to give an acceptance speech, I saw that the audience was entirely made up of native Italians. I became emotional once again. In fact, I was in tears because I was the first Chinese person to receive this award.
Li Xuemei says she really enjoys her life in Italy. In her free time, she reads, travels, hikes in the mountains near her home, or takes walks by the river. And of course, she always stays true to her mission as an educator and cultural ambassador.
I hope to promote Chinese language education in the city of Padua and the wider region to the best of my ability. I will try my best to enhance the scale and influence of Chinese language education at a higher level.